Good afternoon, everybody on YouTube. Steve here with Rake and Profit, rakeandprofit.com. Welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about finances, a little bit of behind the scenes into the business world, a lot of things that people don't talk about here on YouTube. We're going to talk about taxes, we're going to talk about retirement planning, and what I've done in 2016 and 2017. Of course, this wouldn't be a proper video without giving you guys a proper disclaimer. I'm just an average guy on the internet. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving you legal advice. And this is for entertainment purposes only. Essentially, what that means is this isn't legal advice to you. This is my experience. This is what I've done. If you're going to do anything that I talk about, see a professional, see a lawyer, see a CPA. You've always got to you know, confirm things with somebody who's gone through the schooling, the education, who lives that life. I'm very new to this. I've started investing in my retirement and I've started learning about taxes just recently. And again, this is going to be just me sharing my own experience and what I've learned and what I'm doing. So I want to make that crystal clear with you guys. I'm not an expert. I'm not a guru. This is not advice for you. This is just my experience. So with that being said, let's dive into this. The goal of this video is to share with you some changes that I've made in my finances, in my business, um, and talk about taxes a little bit in the year 2016 and 2017. Some of these things I have been practicing since 2014, 2015, but very few. A lot of these things have been changes I've made over the last year or two, and in the last couple of months, last couple of days, actually, a couple of things that I did in terms of my retirement. So this is going to be different. This is going to be a show that many resellers and YouTubers do not talk about whatsoever. So this is going to be really cool for you guys. You're going to definitely learn some stuff if you're new to finances, investing, taxes, like I was recently until I've really started studying it. So want to shout out Joshua Davidson. What's going on, Josh? Good to see you here. Mario Yanez. Yes, yes, yes. I like the attitude right there. We got Ochero Wicked. What's up? Just got done with the gym. Had a 2-hour killer workout. Feeling amazing right now. We got Rhino LA, Alfred Nunez, and Jillian. Jillian, I love seeing you here. Super positive, always in the comments. So good to see you. So if you guys are ready to rock and roll, do me a big favor. Hit that like button and let that one person who hit the dislike button know that you ain't going anywhere with that negative attitude. I'll tell you that right now because you're about to learn. So let's have some fun, guys. Let's dive into it, and I'll do some Q&A afterwards. This is going to be a screen share as well. So let's get into it. But the first part won't be a screen share. So let's talk about some of the changes that I made in 2017 so far in 2016. First big thing that I did was I hired a new CPA. My last CPA was my father. He was amazing, probably one of the most knowledgeable educated guys I've ever met. He knows his stuff and he will die for you. He will literally die for you in terms of making sure he gets the right answers for you. The only problem was working with family. I'm going to just be 100% transparent with you. Working with family in terms of business, emotions get involved, and we had some issues together. We did have some friction because I didn't understand how to do some things, and he was stressed out. And long story short, just family, working with family with business, it just wasn't working out for me. And I needed somebody who also specialized in e-commerce and internet sales. And, I've got, 9, 10, 11, 12 different income streams depending on the year and whatnot. And it was just a little over his head, I believe. And it was just a little outside of his scope. So I had to find somebody who specialized in that. But I really want to say to my father, if he's watching, you did an amazing job. You were awesome. But sometimes you just have to move on. And sometimes it's not best to work with family. So love you, Dad, but had to hire a new CPA. Actually got a referral from wow, I'm blanking out on her name. I completely forgot. Anyways, it's a woman who, what is her name again? How am I blanking out? I don't know. I'll link it down below. But I got a referral and from a CPA, and I found out who she was using, and I ended up interviewing a bunch of different CPAs and to see if they could fulfill my needs and everything that I was looking for. And I ended up hiring a CPA that was actually out of state that used to sit on the board of PayPal and had a ton of knowledge of e-commerce, had a ton of clients that were already doing Amazon and different internet sales. So I found somebody that worked for me and I hired him, and I've been working with him for 5 or 6 months now, maybe a little less than that. So hired a new CPA, and that's been working out great, and it's been smooth. And again, if you're thinking about, should I hire someone locally or out of state? For me, there's been no problem, no friction at all hiring somebody that's out of state. It's just as simple as a phone call, an email, faxing things over. I mean, I just filed my tax return recently, and it was the I think the 8879 form, the form that you're giving consent for them to file electronically for you. I had to mail it back to them. So besides that, I mean, I haven't really had any issues with the out of state hiring a new CPA, but it's been really working smooth. And I recommend you guys, interview a bunch of CPAs and see who fits best for you and see who works best for you. Explain your situation. And the cool thing is, a lot of these accountants and CPAs, you can call them up and get like a 30, 60 minute, interview / consultation, in a sense, to see if they're knowledgeable and if they can deal with your business and this and that, just to see if it's a fit. So lesson learned right there. For me, just working with family, it just didn't work out, and try to find somebody who specializes in e-commerce and online sales. So that's one change that I made. The second change that I made is I actually hired a bookkeeping company locally. And sometimes you got to realize what your strengths and weaknesses are. Sometimes you got to realize what you're good at and what you're lousy at. And also, you've got to ask yourself, what's my time worth? Right? You've got to realize, okay, I'm making this much money. I'm working this many hours. This is the lifestyle that I want. What's my time worth? If you're doing things in your business that are way under what your time is worth, then you might want to consider outsourcing it. And for me, bookkeeping and keeping track of all that, I hated doing it. I was unorganized. I messed things up. It just wasn't for me personally. For some folks out there, it's a super easy job. You're great with, Excel sheets, and, you're punctual, and when you buy something, you put the receipt in, you're on your game. I mean, I used to do that, but I fell behind, and long story short, I made a whole mess out of my books, and I realized this isn't my strength. This isn't worth my time. I need to hire a bookkeeping company. And I met up with a guy locally. I interviewed a few different companies, and I found one that really fit best for me. I had gotten some referrals, and it's not cheap. I'm paying about $300 a month, but it's much more than just basic bookkeeping. A lot of bookkeepers out there, you can get them for, $100 or less, but they don't really have any knowledge when it comes to accounting and finances. They just kind of know how to crunch numbers. This guy is actually an accountant. He has knowledge in all different types of finances, and he can give advice and different things like that. So for me, it worked out. And so far, I've been really enjoying it. I mean, when I had to do my taxes at the end of the year, I had my bookkeeper, who has a lot of knowledge, on a conference call with my new CPA, and we all came together, all three of us, and all the, like, a lot of the terminology and the different things with accounting and taxes, and just certain words, it just confuses me. Having him there in my corner with my CPA, everything was just so smooth. So that's a new change that I've made. Again, it's not cheap. I'll have to see over the long haul if it works out or not. But so far, it's been really, really nice not having to worry about, making sure that my books are in line. He has access to all my credit cards. He has access to my bank accounts, everything. I'm going to be going on to more stuff that is going to kind of fill in the dead spaces, but he's got access to everything. And every month I get a balance sheet. I get an overview of my finances. It's pretty cool. So I've been enjoying that. But if you're new to business, you're probably not going to want to pay for that service because it's not cheap. So the third thing that I did was I made sure that all my business, like, especially when I was buying things from like eBay, when I was buying things from thrift stores, or if I was buying things from pawn shops, or if I was buying supplies, or if I was buying anything that was business related, I was making sure that I was buying it with a single business credit card. With a single credit card, it doesn't have to be a business credit card, a single credit card. Because the mistake I was making over the last few years was I had everything going anywhere. I've only had a couple credit cards. I've never had a lot of them. but I had, I was buying stuff from a thrift store on my Capital One. I was buying stuff from the thrift store on my PayPal. I was buying things off of Amazon with my Capital One, my PayPal going on my bank. Everything was just a huge mess. And when I hired this bookkeeping company, they taught me the importance of having everything on a single credit card going through a single bank account, because it just keeps things super, super just neat and organized. And it's really, really easy to keep track of your books when you know where everything is going and funneling, and you can reconcile your books. And again, I'm not an expert. This is just my experience. So I don't know like all the terminology. If maybe one day I'll get him on a YouTube video with me and he could break it down to you. But making sure that all my business was conducted on a single credit card, making sure that if money was coming into my bank accounts, that it was going through a single account instead of going through various accounts. That's really, really important as well. Another thing I made sure of was that all of my business was going through my business PayPal account, because I had a personal PayPal account in a business and I had things going all over the place. So making sure that anything personal stays on the personal PayPal account and anything business stays on the business account, whether that's money coming in or money coming out. So that was another thing that I did. And I'm just looking into the comment section to see what everybody has to say. If you guys are enjoying this transparency and this information so far, be sure to hit the like button. I can guarantee you that there's probably no resellers who have ever talked about this. And again, not a lawyer, not a CPA, just a guy on the internet sharing his story. So be sure to talk to a CPA. Be sure to hire the right people. This is really just to open up your eyes to what I'm doing. Stephanie Marshall, same here, easy. Not your dad's CPA. You need to find someone that understands the online world. I mean, he understood it. The thing was, I just needed to find somebody who, really dealt with it from time to time. And I was causing a lot of stress in his life. At the end of the day, it was my fault. Like I said, he's amazing. Best dad that a son could ask for. But just working with family can get a little iffy. What's up, Rakin? Send me an address you pick up mail at, and I'll send you some cool pictures. Hit me a pictures to hang on the wall. Send me a private message, man. What's going on, Picking for Profit? Let's keep moving, and I'll answer some questions after. We're going to move into the screen share portion of this show. Let me get on to my screen share, and we will dive into that. Okay. So now we're going to get into some tax stuff, some boring business stuff that most people don't talk about because most people aren't interested in it until you have to be interested in it. Let me make sure my screen share is working. Okay, cool. So we are actually on www.irs.gov. .com. I'm actually in the payment section. And one thing that I made sure that I did, I've actually been doing this for a couple of years now, but I wanted to mention this because I know a lot of people don't do this. If you're self-employed, you're going to be typically paying a ton in taxes, right? We all know this. And obviously, when you work for somebody and you take deductions and whatnot, you usually get money back, right? Any of you guys have friends or family and they look forward to doing their taxes because they're going to get money back. Well, it's typically a different story when you're self-employed. When you're self-employed, you're going to be giving money, right? You're going to be giving the government money, based on your income and different factors, right? I'm not going to get into all the specifics. I'm not an expert, but essentially at the end of the day, you're going to be giving the government money at the end of the year. One thing that I've decided to do, and some people might not want to do this, and others will want to do this, right? Because there's a few different schools of thought here. But what I decided to do over the last couple of years is pay estimated taxes, federal taxes, and state taxes. So you're going to be responsible as a self-employed person to pay the state that you live in, right? Your state taxes, and you're going to be responsible for paying your federal taxes. So one thing that I decided to do is, and thanks to my father for giving me this idea, instead of being stuck with a huge bill at the end of the year, which, over the last couple of years, I would have been stuck with well over a $20,000 bill, I've decided to pay my federal taxes and my state taxes on a quarterly basis. And the way that I did this, and again, this is just my story, the way I did this was at the beginning of the year, I sat down with my CPA and we took into consideration a prediction in terms of how much income we were looking to make. And then based off of that income projection, you would essentially break down what your tax burden or the year, which then would get broken down quarterly to quarterly estimated payments. So if you set that up and you get that going, you can actually make payments directly on irs.gov, which I do. You simply just go under make a payment. You select a reason. So I would select estimated tax, and then you would send it over that way. And obviously you want to keep copies and everything. In terms of state, since I'm in Connecticut, and again, the rules may differ based on where you guys live. So please, I can't say this enough, please talk to your CPA, lawyer, a professional. This is just educational entertainment information right here. But in Connecticut, I actually can go over to ct.gov/DRS, and I could actually make payments quarterly to Connecticut for my my state sales tax. So two schools of thought, like I mentioned before. One school of thought, let me bring my camera back. One school of thought is, why would I give them money early when I could use that money throughout the year? Right. So essentially, say you're paying $5,000 a month to the feds, right, for your estimated sales tax. Essentially, you could look at it as if, well, I could be using that $5,000 throughout the year, every quarter, right, which would be 20 grand into the year. I could be using that to make more money, right? I'm blessed enough to have savings. I'm blessed enough to, if I want to spend money, I've got savings for it. If I was strapped for money and I needed every last dime, I probably wouldn't be doing the quarterly payments, just because I'd want my money working for me. But this is something I might change in the future. I need to look more into this and talk to my CPA about that. But that is one thing that I did as well. Let's move on to the next topic. Another thing that I made sure that I did differently in 2017, and this was kind of a nightmare. So in 2016, you guys know that I make income from a lot of different places, from eBay, from Amazon, Audible, Kindle, CreateSpace, Gumroad, different affiliate networks. I mean, the list goes on and on. The Green Room. There's so many different income streams that I have coming in. In 2016, I was not prepared. I wasn't educated, and I didn't really understand like how important it was to collect your 1099s and get all your 1099s to your CPA. And to make a long story short, I kind of screwed up and I didn't claim as much as I was supposed to. And then we had to go amend my return. So one thing that I made sure of this year was I went through every single income that I had coming in. I went through every single thing in my bank account and made sure I understood all the companies that were paying me. And I made sure to go through each and every one to make sure that I got the 1099 to my CPA. You guys got to understand what a 1099 is, and I'm going to share that with you right now with a screen share. Okay, so we are on payable.com. Title is, what is a 1099? And I'm going to read, if you've done any work as a freelancer or independent contractor, you could receive a 1099 form from companies you've worked with, most likely a 1099 miscellaneous. These forms report to the IRS exactly how much a company has paid you in the last tax year as a non-employee. These are the alternatives to W-2 forms, which companies and organizations use to declare income for employees. And then it goes into to define what an independent contractor is. That's not really for us. And then if you hired somebody and you paid over $600, you would have to give them a 1099. And it states, if a company has paid you less than $600 over the course of the year, you do not need to send you a 1099, but you still have to account for that income. So essentially what a 1099 is, in my own words, is a way of the government finding out that you made income, right? And they're going to expect you to put that income on your tax return, to pay taxes on it. So I know a lot of you folks sell on eBay. Maybe you're brand new and you know that PayPal doesn't give a 1099 until you do 200 transactions and or $20,000 in sales. Once you hit that threshold, they will send you a 1099, which means the government will know that you made that income, which means you'll have no other choice but to claim that income. Now, a lot of people say, hey, I didn't get a 1099, I don't have to claim it. That's wrong. You still have to claim it. If you were to get audited, if they were to find out and go through your bank accounts, you'd be hit with tons of penalties, tax money, all this stuff, right? So you still want to pay it regardless. Some people take the risk and they don't do it, but that's what a 1099 is. And I made sure to collect and be on top of my game when it came to my 1099s. And I suggest that you guys do as well. What's going on, Mara Bradley? Good to see you. Hello from Columbus, Ohio, Florida, Lena and Gregor. Good to see you. Nothing like learning from Professor Payne. You are right about that. If you guys are enjoying this video so far, be sure to hit that like button. We got 80-something people watching live, but only 32 likes. We got to step up the like game. The next change that I made in 2016 and 2017, this is something that I didn't do before. Let me take this off. Was I made sure to automate all my bills. Mostly all of my bills, I made sure to automate them. And if possible, I made sure that they went through the best credit card to get the most points, to get the most cash back. And I think that's really, really important. I know a lot of people are nervous about automating their bills and they're worried about, things happening and whatnot. But if it's on a credit card, you're fine. If something goes wrong, you can get your money back. The key is you've got to check your statements on a weekly, bi-weekly, or a monthly basis just to make sure, because there are issues that could occur. But I made sure to automate my health insurance. I automated my car insurance. I automated my rent. I automated just a lot of different things. Pretty much every bill in my life that I could automate, I did automate it. And it just took a lot of stress away. And yeah, just freed up a lot of time to spend on other things like enjoying my life, exercising, business, YouTube, going out picking, all that good stuff. So that's another change that I made. Next thing that I did differently in terms of my finances, actually, this is more towards retirement planning, and this is pretty interesting right here. Let me do a screen share really quick. So what I actually did. Okay, cool. What I actually did this year was I maxed out my Roth IRA. And this was the first year that I actually invested in my Roth IRA. I've been told that I should have been doing it for the last few years, and I was a dum-dum and I didn't listen. I didn't fully understand what a Roth IRA was, but I maxed it out. And if you're self-employed, depending on your income and whatnot, I believe the max that you can contribute at least in this year, was $5,500, and that's what I maxed it out with. And I went with Vanguard. But I'm going to explain what a Roth IRA is for you folks who don't know what it is. A Roth IRA is a special retirement account where you pay taxes on money going into your account, and then all future withdrawals are tax-free. So this is what it means. When you put money in, you're essentially getting taxed on that. But when you pull it out, and there's different rules that you have to follow, when you pull it out 30 years later, when you go to retire, you get all that money tax-free, which is huge, because essentially you could put your money in and get taxed at 20, 30%, whatever. Maybe you lose a couple $1,000s initially, but you could pull out 150, 200, 300, $500,000 20, 30 years later based upon how you invest it. Compound interest, definitely look into compounding interest. It's huge for retirement based on what I've been learning. But you could pull out that $500,000 if that's what you had 30 years later, tax-free. I mean, imagine if you got taxed on that 30 years later, right? I'm no CPA, so I don't know exactly what it would be, but it would sure be a lot more than what you initially pay. So like the benefit of a Roth IRA is in the eye of the beholder, and it all depends on the beholder's tax bracket, both now and when he or she retires. Although there is no upfront tax deduction for Roth IRA contributions as there is with a traditional IRA, think of a traditional IRA as the opposite. You actually get to save money on the front end, which means you can deduct it off of your income to save money. But on the back end, you pay taxes. So with the traditional IRA, Roth distributions are tax-free when you follow the rules. And because every penny you stash in a Roth IRA is your money, not a tax-subsidized gift from Uncle Sam, you can tap your contributions, but not like your earnings, anytime tax-free and penalty-free. Roth IRAs make the most sense if you expect your tax rate to be higher during retirement than your current rate. That makes both Roth IRAs ideal saving vehicles for young, lower income workers who won't miss the upfront tax deduction and who will benefit from decades of tax-free compounded growth. So if you're young, if you're in your teens, if you're in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, I think Roth IRA is definitely a great option to look into and learn more about. Roth IRAs also appeal to anyone who wants to minimize their tax bite in retirement, as well as older, wealthier taxpayers who want to leave assets to their heirs tax-free. You can contribute to your Roth IRA at any age, as long as you have earned income from a job. That means they are appropriate for everyone from child actors to, I don't know what that word is, Walmart greeters. So there's a bunch of different rules. I'm not going to go into every single one. But right here, I was able to max out the $5,500 with my Roth IRA, and I decided to use Vanguard. Right now, it's sitting in a money market. I'm not sure how I'm going to invest it. I may take some advice from the book that I read, Money, from Tony Robbins, and diversify it in some index funds, some stocks, bonds, treasuries, whatnot. But I haven't gotten to that point, and I really need to educate myself on that. So I'm not really sure. But I maxed out my Roth IRA. So that was pretty exciting. I'm excited to finally start planning for retirement at 29 years old to get that caboose moving. So that was pretty cool right there. Let's look into the comments real quick. Master Chief 88 says, glad to hear Vanguard. I assume you found Mr. Money Mustache. I've heard of Mr. Money Mustache, but I don't think I've really checked him out that much. Just looking through the comments. So again, guys, I'm definitely not a guru or expert with this. I'm just pretty much reading off, the exact, definitions and kind of just explaining things the best that I understand it. Another thing that I actually maxed out was my SEP contribution. So a SEP stands for, what does it stand for? Self-employed. I don't even know what it stands for. What does it stand for? Somebody help me out here. I don't know, but it's called a SEP. It's a retirement for self-employed people. Maybe that's what it stands for, self-employed people. But I maxed out my SEP IRA, and I didn't think that, like, when I first learned, I just literally learned about a SEP recently. Thanks to Paul Wang in the green room, I learned about that. And I was under the impression that if you contributed in your Roth IRA, that you couldn't contribute into your SEP, but you actually could. Maybe the rules are different for you, but I was able to. And I'm just looking through some of the details right here. All SEP contributions are made by the employer. The employees can contribute to personal IRA accounts. Here we go. The maximum contribution can't exceed the lesser of 25% of the employer's total compensation, or $53,000 for the 2016 tax year. So I maxed out my 25%, and that was pretty exciting right there. So I maxed out my SEP, and essentially, from my understanding, what a SEP does is it can save you money on taxes because it's actually tax deductible, from my understanding. So let's just say you made $100,000, right? And you contributed, $5,000 in the SEP. From my understanding, I could be wrong, it takes your tax liability burden from 100,000 down to 95,000. So if you're in a 20% bracket, you could save, $1,200–$1,400 in taxes. Just throwing a rough number out there. So it pulls down your tax burden by investing into this IRA for self-employed folks. So I maxed that out, and I maxed out the Roth IRA. This is the first year I've ever done it. So if you are self-employed, definitely take a look into this. Talk to your CPA, talk to your accountant. And for the folks who haven't done this, it's probably a little too late for you. I mean, you might be able to sneak it in, but I believe you have to do this by April 18th to be able to do it for the 2016 tax year. So that's definitely something to talk about with your accountant. Some other things that I did, let me pull this screen share off really quick. Some other changes that I made was I made sure to track my finances each and every month, which sounds simple, but a lot of people, including myself previously, I was just kind of spending money and bringing in money. And, as long as the bank account was increasing, I didn't worry about it. That's a big problem right there, because you don't realize how much money you're spending on stupid stuff until you actually look into your account. And I had softwares I was paying for that I wasn't using. I was paying so much eating out, which is something I want to fix, and I have fixed. I had some bills that had double charged me. I was using this food service. Thankfully, I was doing my monthly checkup in my finances. I went through this food service who they delivered foods to you like every week, like meal prep. And one week they charged me like 3 times extra. Like they just kept charging me for no reason at all. And thankfully I was looking at my statements and I called them up and got it fixed. But that would have been, $500 that I never would have saw again. So it's definitely smart to check your finances, go through your PayPal statements, your credit card statements, your bank statements, go through everything, right? Personal and business, because there will be mistakes that happen. So you have to make that a routine. And the last change I made in 2017 was I actually downsized my apartment. So if you see right now, it's a new scenery. I actually downsized into something a little smaller. And one mistake that I realize a lot of people make, and I've actually made this mistake over the last couple of years, is the more money that I made, the more I spent. And up until about the last year, I really changed things around because I went from like being dead broke, guys. Like I went from making like $200 a week to 500 a week to 1,000 and beyond. And the more money that I made, the more money I spent. And I realized that I was going down that road of being stuck in the rat race, even self-employed. And I started having ideas about, hey, my car is getting older. Why don't I get a Mercedes, or why don't I get a really nice car? Why don't I move into a penthouse and try to be something else and try to impress people? Like, I'm just being honest. Like, I had these thoughts coming in my mind, and some people are just like they're chill, like they make money and they're good with that and they're not trying to show off. I don't know if it's like insecurities, maybe from when I was younger. I don't know what it is, but I think some people have this where their brain wants to always get nicer things and almost like impress people. And like that was starting to go through my mind a year ago and like even before that, and I had to cut it off. I had to absolutely cut it off. I think there's a difference between enjoying yourself and living life and having a good lifestyle and nice things, and doing it all for the wrong reasons, because most people, they make more money and they spend more money. And for me, it's not about having the most money, but I love my lifestyle. I love the freedom. I love being able to help people on YouTube. I love being able to run my own businesses. And I don't want to be so high heeled with bills that I'm super stressed out. Like if I want to take a week off, I want to take a week off. If I want to go to a conference, and take off from my business, I want to be able to take off. If I want to be able to stop doing eBay for 3 months, I want to be able to stop doing eBay. It might be spoiled, but we live in a world, guys, where you can create whatever life you want. And by maxing out your bills as much as possible, you're creating so much additional stress in your life. And I just didn't want that. I read the book Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, changed my mind like crazy. And I'm trying to be super, super smart with my money, trying to be resourceful. And this all circles back to downsizing. My last apartment was 1,700 square feet. It was huge. It was in a beautiful community, but it was unnecessary. It really was. And I've made some decisions that the current used car that I have right now, which actually broke down about 3 months ago. It was a 2012 Hyundai Sonata. The whole engine blew. And I was so lucky that it fell under the warranty. There was an issue that went with the engine. I got a brand new engine in that Hyundai Sonata. So I've decided, you know what? I'm going to just ride that thing until the wheels crack. I mean, it's a nice car. It's a 2012 Hyundai Sonata. I'm not going to go out and refinance. Like it's paid off. I'm not going to go out and get a new car. I'm not going to finance myself up. Like I'm going to just ride it until the wheels crack. It's got a new engine in it. I'm actually planning on Monday going to do a bunch of maintenance on it that I had neglected my whole life. Like I never did any maintenance on that car, like just stupid things that I've done in the past. And I just realized as I'm getting older, I need to be more responsible. And I just want to be transparent and share this with you guys. So I'm going to ride that car to the wheels crack and fall off. I'm getting some repairs done on it, but I'm trying to keep my bills as low as possible. So those are some of the changes I made in 2017. And maybe some folks can appreciate the honesty and give me a like and share some stories in the comments section as well. Does Mercari send out 1099s? I don't sell on that platform, but I'm sure if you hit a certain threshold, then you would. KLC says, live and learn. You are learning. You are doing the right thing. Appreciate that. Alfredo says, I just covered my 4 bases: food, gas, electricity, and shelter, and transportation. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. That's 5 bases, man. You're out. So people are giving some love to Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey's awesome. Rhonda Ebby says, good for you in dealing with this. Too many of my friends don't know what they're going to do because they didn't prepare. I'm 57, and so are my friends. Yeah, I mean, when I retire, I don't expect the government to give me anything. So I've got to do something now, right? Mr. Two makes a great point. He or she says, stress kills. It does. I mean, some people out there want to be millionaires. Some people want to buy the jets, right? Shout out to Gary Vee. Some people have huge dreams and aspirations. Me, like, I want to be a millionaire, and I know I will eventually, but it's not like my overall like number one purpose. Like, I want to get super healthy and in shape. I want to help people and make a difference. I want to add value in people's lives, and I want to just live a really fun life and not be super stressed out. So, um, I'm trying to keep the stress down as much as possible. So, God's Gift says 2014 Mercedes E350 here. Never a problem and bought it used. Don't buy new. People let someone else take that hit. Yeah, that's a really, really good point right there. Bobby Moon says, I like how Steve keeps it real. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Kirsten says Dave Ramsey's book is life-changing. I also took his Financial Peace University, which has changed my life. I actually found the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University. It's like that big yellow booklet full of things. I don't know. I didn't go through it, but I actually found it at a thrift store in Delaware for like $5 and flipped it for like 90. Should have went through it though. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's talk about some of the things that I'm looking to do in 2017. And again, guys, another disclaimer, I'm not an expert. I'm not your guru. Don't take my advice. I'm just sharing what I do, right? So let's talk about something called an HSA, or a health savings account. Not sure if any of you guys know what that is. I just recently learned about it again. Big shout out to Paul Wang in the green room. But I'm going to read off what an HSA, or a health savings account, is. So, health savings account were created by Congress to combat rising medical costs by providing an incentive for more consumers to pay first dollar medical expenses. HSAs, or health saving accounts, are tax favored accounts designed to help individuals who are covered by high deductible health plans pay medical expenses for themselves, their spouses, and their dependents. Who is eligible? HSAs are available to individuals covered by a high deductible health plan. So take that keyword and remember it, a high deductible health plan, regardless of whether they're self-employed or employed by an employer, and regardless of whether their employer maintains the HDHP. You're eligible individual for any month if you are covered under an HDHP on the first day of such month, are not also covered by another health plan, are not enrolled in Medicare, and are not eligible to be claimed as a dependent on another person's tax return. So what are the benefits to this? And I'm going to kind of explain to you what it is. HSA contributions made by the employer or employer excluded from income. HSA earnings are tax deferred. If used for qualified medical expenses, HSA assets are never taxed, and so on and so forth. So here's the deal, guys. Let me take the screen share off. Every single year, my health insurance just keeps going up and up. It started at like 100, and then it went to like 140, then 180, and last year it just doubled. Now it's up to $350 a month for me personally as a self-employed 29-year-old. It's going to continue to go up. I literally would not be surprised if it's $500 next year. I will not be surprised. Let me give you guys some backstory. My health insurance is really good, at least from my understanding. I'm not an expert in this field. I've got low deductibles, and my premium just continues to go up each and every year. So there's something called health savings account that I just recently learned about, that is actually an account that you can set up. And I want you guys to read the details. I'm not going to go into too much of the specifics, but there's actually an account that you can set up. If you qualify, you have to have deductions that I believe are higher than like 1,200 or something like that. And if you qualify for an HSA, you can actually put money into an account that is tax deductible, that essentially could save you money, right? I'm not going to go into all the details because I really don't fully understand it. I'm just sharing with this option with you guys. But I'm planning on next year probably talking to my broker and seeing if I could change plans. And maybe I still need to do more research, but I'm thinking about getting a high deductible health insurance plan and then investing into this, health savings account to save money. So just something to look into. Again, I don't fully understand it, so I'm not going to try to explain it to you right now, but this is just something that I learned about. And some of you folks who are self-employed, maybe you're single like I am, and you're trying to save money and your premiums keep going up, take a look into this. Talk to your accountant about it for sure. The next thing I want to talk about, and this is one thing that I'm going to be using as well. It's a company called shoeboxed.com, and I actually just signed up with them and got the envelope in the mail. So obviously, I have a bookkeeper. You might be doing your books yourself. A lot of us are buying from thrift stores, garage sales, different places, retail stores, and we get all of these receipts. The problem is over time, these receipts fade away. And these receipts are not only your proof to Amazon, but also to the IRS if you were ever to get audited. So what this company Shoebox does is they actually send you an envelope, a big envelope. You put all your receipts in it, you send it off to them, and what they do is they input it into a system for you. They scan them all in for you, and it's just a great way to be able to keep track of all your receipts. So I'm not going to go into all the details. If you guys do want to check it out, and get a free trial, do me a big favor and go through my affiliate link, rakeandprofit.com/shoeboxed. And that link is in the description. I'm going to be sure to bring you guys some update videos probably over the next week or two, because I'm going to be sending in my first batch to them. And let me see if I can read some more things about it. So receipt organization, they scan in your receipts. Expense reports, send expense reports with receipt images from anywhere. Tax preparation, I'm not going to be messing with that. Business card management, mile tracking, and magic envelopes that they send you. So they do a bunch of things. Look into it, rakeandprofit.com/shoeboxed. You can get a free trial, but that's something that I'm also going to be experimenting with in 2017. Another thing that I'm going to be looking into is something called term insurance, which I need to educate myself on, but I learned about that in the Dave Ramsey Money Makeover. A few other things I'm looking to focus on is reduce the amount of money I'm spending each week eating out. And lastly, get a will. I don't know if any of you guys have a will. I know I'm young, I'm healthy, but if, God forbid anything was to happen to me, what would happen to my businesses that are creating income? What would happen to the money in my bank? Who knows? I don't know anything about this, but from wise people that I've always talked to and listened to and read books and listened to audiobooks, they say have a will. So that's one thing that I definitely want to get done in 2017 is get my will created. So yeah, that's the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed me talking about, my finances, taxes, retirement planning, all that fun stuff. Again, guys, make sure to seek legal advice. This is just for educational, for entertainment purposes. This is just my journey, what I'm doing. Some things I said could be wrong. They might not be 100% accurate. Again, a lot of this is a learning curve for me. It's a lot of stuff that I've been sinking my teeth into over the last couple months, couple years. So please, please, please talk to your accountant, talk to someone who's a professional. And hopefully this just opened your eyes up to some of the things that you can do to invest, to save your money, to retire, to manage your finances better. And that was really the goal of this show, was to kind of bring you guys behind the scenes into my life. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to hit a like, hit the like button, subscribe for more videos. I'm posting videos literally every single day at this point, sometimes a couple times a week at the least. But I'm here sharing everything. I quit my job over 4 years ago. I've been working for myself. I've been able to lose weight. I've been able to make more money. I've been a lot less stressed out, a lot more happier, spend time with my girlfriend, family, traveling, conferences. Everything's improving because I was able to work for myself. And it just really just was congruent with my personality and my goals and everything. So if you feel trapped in your job, if you feel sick and tired of where you are today, just know if I was able to do it, you can do it. And it's a journey. Every day is just, stepping on a new stepping stone and learning something new. But if you're willing to learn and grow and make mistakes and get knocked down and get back up again and just keep moving forward, you can make it happen. And I'll tell you right now, from hosting this YouTube channel over the last 4 years, I've met some amazing people who they're able to work for themselves and earn a full-time income and take care of their family and live a really happy, healthy life. So hopefully this video helped, guys. If it did, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me dive into the comments, see if there's any questions that are coming in. So let me X out of some of these tabs, and feel free to throw some comments down below. Appreciate the likes, everybody. In the Sun by the Beach says, for health savings account, ask advice from someone who is licensed to sell health insurance. There you go. Like I've been saying this whole entire show, do not listen to me. Take what I say with a grain of salt and do your diligence. That's the key with anything in life. Philip Morgan says, you rock raking. Thank you, Philip. I appreciate that. Ryder Ross says, bada bing, bada boom. Thanks to this video, I might retire soon. I like that. I like that. Fran says, awesome content. Thanks. You are welcome, Fran. Glad you enjoyed. Jillian, I see you've been sticking around. Hopefully you learned some stuff. If there's anything that you guys learned during this show or something that just opened up your eyes, let me know. I want to know, what did you guys learn? Is there anything new you learned? Or maybe I just said something that reinforced something that you knew you should be doing, but you haven't for one reason or another because life just gets in the way. I know exactly what that's like. But leave a comment below. I'd like to know what you guys learned, if anything. Billy V says, I want everyone to succeed. Hope you all feel the same. You got to share the love. There's plenty to go around. Matt says, good looks on the video with Jim Pickens. I paid for the course last night. My homework for this weekend. Okay, your homework for the weekend is to go through Jim's course, but I didn't get your books with it. Yeah, so a lot of people are, for some reason, his product is loaded onto a platform called JVZoo, and I added the free books under the bonus. I don't know if people are having a hard time finding it because you have to log into your JVZoo account as a consumer, and you can find the bonus there. Some people can't find it, so if you can't, email me at stevera258@gmail.com. I'm going to throw that into the comment section right now. Email at If anybody purchased the Jim Pickens course through my affiliate link, I'm going to need you guys to send me proof because I'm an affiliate. I get a commission from it. That's how I'm allowed to give away all my books for free. So it's kind of a give take thing right there. But if you did purchase the Jim Pickens course through my affiliate link, send me proof that you purchased through my link, your invoice, and I will hook you up with those books. Again, guys, if you haven't gotten them, go into your JVZoo account. You should be able to access them there. Let me go back into the comments really quick, see what's going on with you peeps. Just waiting for it to load. Omar says, thanks for the shoebox suggestion. Sounds like a great idea. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it because right now, my bookkeeper's handling everything on the back end, but I still have to manage all my receipts, right? So I just got the envelope. Where is the envelope? I think it's in the kitchen. But anyways, rakeandprofit.com/shoeboxed. It's the first link in the description. If you go through that link, I do get a commission if you end up purchasing it, but that's a free trial link right there. So check that out. I'll be sure to update you guys with how things go with that. Love Letters says, so glad I watched this video today. Very good advice and info. We'll be doing research this afternoon on retirement accounts and tax info. Yeah, definitely look into the Roth IRA if you're younger, if you're older, maybe the traditional IRA and the SEP. Look at the SEP as well, the SEP IRA. Silver Hair Stacker says, already retired and spending the kids' inheritance. Uh-oh. Philip Morgan says, planning on joining the green room, by the way. Yeah, we'll definitely love to have you over there. And it's a great community in the green room, guys. A lot of positive people, a lot of entrepreneurs and resellers, and a lot of really just amazing people over there. So if you do want to check out the membership group that I run alongside with the Bonafide Hustler and the College Picker, you can check that out at greenroomuniversity.com. We've got a blog. We've got a bunch of cool information over there. So definitely check that out. In the Sun says, as I told you all, I have 2 law degrees. I did a lot of revocable living trusts. Mr. 2 says, reinforce getting a bookkeeper. I hate it. Yeah, like I said before, you can look for a cheaper alternative in terms of a bookkeeper, and then you can look for the more expensive ones that it's a big company and they have more experience. Some of them might be like an accountant firm. So definitely take a look at that. Who Did It 99 says, my car is a 1999 Toyota RAV4 with 160K miles. Hey, stay out of debt, right? Jillian says, I need a will as soon as possible. I don't even know how to get a will. I'm assuming you probably would have to visit with a lawyer, right? A specific type of lawyer that would draw it up. Let me ask you guys, what do you think it would cost for a 29-year-old guy like myself to get a will drawn up? And that's probably a bad question because I'm sure it differs just based upon how many assets you have, and I'm sure there's a million different directions you go with that will. But what do you think on the cheap end it would cost to draw up just a basic will that would, protect, I guess would avoid having your family go through a freaking crazy headache with like probate and all that stuff, if I was to die or something bad was to happen to me. So let me know. Solomon Green says, I just opened up a Shopify store. You think that was a good idea for me? Yeah, I mean, Shopify is definitely a great way to be able to make money. It's not as easy as people think. And for me, it's been a challenge, but I'm still plugging away and still running my store. So things are going well over there. It's not as easy as I thought. That's all I could say. But it's definitely a great way to make some good cash. In the Sun by the Beach, Steve, you only need term life insurance if there are people who rely on your support like children. So I need to look more into that. The only reason I put the term insurance down as something that I was looking to learn more about was because Dave Ramsey had recommended it. So maybe that's only for a family or if you have people I'm supporting, right? Billy says, me and my wife are planning to get rid of our 2 leases. Nice cars, but it's a big piece out of our finances. Makes sense to buy a late model in good working order. That's definitely a good point right there. In the Sun by the Beach, Warren Buffett recommends getting a low fee index fund, such as the S&P 500 from Vanguard. Yep, I'm definitely looking into the indexes for sure, because a lot of people don't realize normal mutual funds, the fees are so high. It might only be 1 or 2%, but in the book by Tony Robbins, Money, having a mutual fund versus like the index funds, the market like beat the mutual funds like 90% of the time or like 97% of the time. And people don't realize it. From what I learned in that book I read, Money by Tony Robbins, just a 1 or 2% fee from a mutual fund manager can be the difference between you retiring with like 400,000 and like 80,000. It's crazy. Definitely recommend looking at that book, Money by Tony Robbins. Thriftology, what's going on, man? About to quit the 9 to 5. So this is a great show for me right now. Yeah, definitely be sure to watch the replay, guys. Take notes. Again, I want you guys to realize, don't listen to every little tiny thing I'm saying. What I want you to get out of this is the big bullet points, like hiring a good CPA or a new CPA, or hiring a bookkeeping service, making sure all your business is on a single credit card, making sure your PayPal is not mixed with personal and business, looking at possibly paying estimated payments to the federal or to the state so you don't get stuck with a big tax bill, automating your bills, collecting all your 1099s, making sure you're claiming all your income, maxing out Roth IRAs if possible, looking into the SEP contribution, tracking your monthly finances, downsizing, living within your means, not being stuck in the rat race, making more money and having more bills, because that's the quickest way to find unhappiness. I know for a fact it is, because I know it. Money does not buy happiness. It's a resource, but it doesn't. Having nicer things, I've realized, make you happy for the short term, and then you get used to it and you're just looking for the next big thing to buy. So Morris Chroma, or I'm going to just call you Morris K, because I'm probably destroying your name. If you don't know me that well, I destroy names. That's what I do. It's my part-time job. So Morris, big shout out. What's going on? Good to see you. Clear and clutter for clarity. Say that 10 times. I want to quit my day job. Do it. Michelle Gianni. What's going on, Michelle? Planning on Amazon and Shopify. I got in late on this hangout. I will definitely have to rewatch the rerun. You should. It's unlike any other videos you've probably seen in the reselling community. I have a separate checking for my business. Do you also recommend opening up a second checking account for my eBay business? This is just my advice, and from what my accountant and bookkeeper told me, you don't have to have separate accounts for different businesses. You just need to make sure that all your income and expenses that are business are going into that one account. If you have different businesses, like for example, I have money that comes in, like I have my personal, and then I have 2 LLCs. I make sure that personal is personal. I make sure LLC number 1 is LLC number 1. All credit cards, all bank, everything is going in that funnel. And then LLC 2 is in all credit cards, bank is only there. So I'm not mixing between LLC 1 and LLC 2 and my personal, because they're all different entities from my understanding. So if it's all under your name or all under an LLC, whether it's say you have an Amazon business, a Shopify business, and you have a eBay business, all under Steve Raikin LLC, then from my understanding, from my non-professional advice, I don't see any issues with that. Raikin, would you keep all the money you make on eBay in your PayPal or keep transferring it out to the banks? Always transfer it. You do not want to turn PayPal into a savings account. I've got a friend who does Shopify. He's had over $100,000 locked into his PayPal for over a month now. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but it's been locked up for like a month now, $100,000. So I've heard a lot of horror stories with them freezing your accounts. So keep $100 or so in there for returns and different issues based on volume. Maybe you have to keep 1,000 if you're doing 40,000 a month on eBay or Amazon, or well, Amazon's not PayPal, but you know what I mean. Philip says, I'm quitting my day job too. Watching this at my day job, soul crushing. You know, just be grateful that you understand that there's an option out there for you. You know, I worked my whole entire life, 25 years. I mean, I know that's nothing, right? But not knowing about reselling, and when I found it, like, it changed everything. So just realize you have an option, you have a way out. You just have to figure out how to scale your business and make enough income, right? You see, I was lucky. I was living at home with my parents. I didn't have many bills. I didn't have any credit cards. I didn't have any debt. I didn't have any school debt. I had all gotten those little scholarship things, those little grants when I went to community college. So I didn't have any debt. For me to quit my job, I was nothing special at all. Like, let's just be real. There was nothing special. Like, there's people out there who have families and debt and college debt and all these bills and, 3 kids and this and that. That's hard. That's really hard. So I can't relate. There was nothing special about me quitting my job, but for some folks, I understand it's hard to get the ball rolling. Have you hired the assistant yet? I had a friend had referred a friend of his who wasn't my friend, but I actually knew who he was. He works at a pawn shop, and I'm trying to get him to be my new assistant, my eBay lister, photographer, all that. But I don't know if it's going to work with the schedule. His schedule is a little off from what I was looking for, and he's already working like 50 hours a week. But this guy actually runs the eBay store for a pawn shop, and their store last year they did $160,000 on eBay. And this year they're on track to do $600,000, $50,000 a month they've been doing. This guy's been managing their eBay account at the pawn shop. So I would love to hire him. I just don't know if it's going to work out. I mean, even if I could get him in for like once a week or like twice a week for like 4 to 8 hours, that would be amazing. Because I really just want to do eBay part-time. I don't want to go fully into that. Michelle says, I just subscribed. Tons of good info here. Thank you, Raikin. Thanks, Michelle. I appreciate it. So I think that's about it. There's a lot of comments coming in, but I do got to get running. It's almost 1 o'clock. So I actually have an appointment in about 5 minutes. I got to get on a Skype call. So, hey guys, thanks for watching. If you did like this video, do me a big favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate all the great comments in the comment section. You guys kept it super positive. And again, I want to say, please, 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 because some people are going to take my advice and run with it. And I don't do that. Please don't. See a CPA, see a lawyer, see a professional. Don't listen to some random guy on the internet, because for all you know, things I said could have been wrong, and they could have been. Let's just be real, because I'm not a professional and this is really new to me. So this was a matter of me sharing my journey and kind of just keeping myself accountable. So please, please see a professional. With that being said, you guys rock. Have a good day. See you in the next video, and peace out. Bye-bye.